2016, turn me up.
And just like that, the boys are back. Fusion Section 400, Matt, Jack, and Brian bringing you along. Little Monday edition here. NBA Game 7 just happened. We'll get into some OKC and Nuggets talk. PGA Championship wrapped up. Have a lot to digest there. Michael of the week. And then we'll end with another Game 7, but over on the ice. The Panthers and the Maple Leafs. Obviously, as we're recording this, the game's going on, so maybe we'll get some live updates. Maybe we'll tune in. We'll see how Jack and Brian are feeling. I know we'll have some stuff for that. But any like pre-game, what do you guys got?
It's coming home.
No, it is not. Screw Canada. We're keeping it in America. We're keeping it in Florida. Puck drops in 29 minutes. I'm sure you will get some. We'll get some goals before the time we're done recording. So I'm looking forward to this.
Yeah, I lean on Jack's side there. Screw Canada. We don't need any of that nonsense. It doesn't need to come home, Brian. But we'll get into all the talk here in just a second. Let's get a quick word from SeatGeek.
You know, I'm watching this Mets game tonight, and all these Yankees fans seem a little mad. It's probably because Juan Soto signed with the Mets, but it's also probably because they didn't use code VIEWSFROM400 at checkout to get their tickets for tonight's game. If they would have used code VIEWSFROM400 at checkout on SeatGeek, they would have saved $20, probably gotten a free beer, and been a little bit happier. If you are going to a baseball game, a basketball game, a concert, or any event this spring or summer, go to SeatGeek, use code VIEWSFROM400 at checkout, and first-time customers will get $20 off their first ticket purchase. SeatGeek's amazing. We use it for everything. SeatGeek, the official sponsor of the Views from Section 400 podcast.
Thanks to SeatGeek, as always. We'll go into now NBA Game 7, OKC Thunder, Denver Nuggets. Looked like it was going to be a good one at first. The Nuggets off to a hot start, and then, what was that? Home court advantage. OKC just was way too powerful as the game went on, and they'll be representing in the Western Conference Finals against the Timberwolves.
Yeah, I was really hoping to come on to this podcast tonight wearing my Jamal Murray jersey after the Nuggets win a Game 7 on the road and Murray puts up a 40-piece. I settled for the Swanee hat. Hopefully soon D1 Swanee after all of these D1 programs are going D3. Swanee has a lot of money. I don't know. But, yeah, it was the Thunder defense and the Nuggets' lack of offense. They went like the first 4.5 minutes of the second quarter without a bucket, and then they fed it into Jokic, and he had an and one against like a triple team. And that's pretty much how the game went. It was just Thunder were suffocating.
It was the Thunder against Jokic. As good as Aaron Gordon and Jamal Murray have played throughout, Jokic, he seemed alone out there. It seemed like, honestly, his second best player on the team was Christian Braun. And as much as I love Christian Braun, kid's a champion, him being your second best player is not good enough. He had a terrible day shooting, Brian, if that's where you're going next. But
no, I was gonna, and I know you hate when I do this, but his name is Downtown Christian Brown.
Braun.
I know he spells it wrong. Yeah.
Anyway, he was the Nuggets' second best player. It's not going to get it done. I know Aaron Gordon was working through the injury. Jamal Murray was working through the illness. I mean, the Nuggets, what it came down to, the Nuggets weren't deep enough. And meanwhile, the Thunder, they pulled their starters with like 9 minutes left, or I guess both teams did. It was a 30-point game, ended up finishing a 40-point game. I just think that the Thunder were too deep, too young, just had too much left in the chamber when the Nuggets completely ran out of gas.
They had Peyton Watson playing big minutes, and he's basically just a worse version of Russell Westbrook. Everything bad that you get from Russell Westbrook is what you get from Peyton Watson.
I mean, if your team's shooting 40%, they shot less. The Nuggets shot less than 40% in this game, and they shot 22% from three. You're not winning any game 7 doing that. I can't really blame the interim head coach for coming in there and just trying to shake things up. If Aaron Gordon, I don't want to call it Aaron Gordon. If Russell Westbrook's 1 for 8, sit his ass on the bench. It doesn't matter who it is at that point. We saw it. Who was it? The Texas Tech Red? No, it was your boy Patino. Sat that guy at St. John's because he just was having RJ was having a terrible game, and sometimes you got to shake things up. I mean, that's part of coaching, but Nuggets couldn't figure it out.
No, they couldn't. And I don't know what his final stat line was. I feel slightly to blame. I'm pretty sure I was advocating for Aaron Gordon, calling him a superstar, calling him borderline great. And I don't know. I don't think he really showed up to be that second guy, even when Jamal Murray. I mean, what was Jamal Murray? 1 of 8, 1 of 9 from 3.
Yeah, Murray was 1 of 8. Gordon, he was on one leg essentially, so I can't blame him that much. He still had 8 and 11, shot 2 for 4. He just couldn't really be a big presence.
I think he had limited minutes. He only played 20-something minutes when he's usually out there for 30, 35. So it's tough, man. I mean, but this is the time in the season where everyone's getting hurt. So you got to have depth, and the Nuggets just didn't have it this year.
If you want to blame one player, Michael Porter Jr. was awful in this entire series. I mean, I might be missing a game where he played well, but I don't think he played a good game.
There may have been one in a win, but he didn't need to have a great game in that game kind of thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's like every time he shot a 3, it was a terrible brick.
There was one that almost went down for Porter Jr. that I saw, and it like rimmed in and out. I think it was just that kind of series for the guy where the rim was super small and he couldn't find one to go, and they needed somebody to step up. Murray tried to do it throughout the series. Aaron Gordon on one leg, and then I don't know. I guess Michael Porter Jr. just isn't that caliber of player to be the second guy. I don't know.
And as much as we're dunking on the Nuggets right now, we do have to give a lot of credit to the Thunder because this is what they've been doing all season. They've been playing lockdown defense, playing harder than everybody else. And, whether it's Hartenstein giving Jokic some problems, you going to interrupt me and correct my grammar there, Brian? Is it Hartenstein?
Yeah, I think you got it right.
Yeah, I know the old Nick, but whether it's him and Chet, doing a double team on Jokic, pause. It's they were playing some good defense. Chet, I don't really think that he's there yet, but he's still big enough and was trying to play physical enough with Jokic, and that's what you need. And now they're moving on to the next round. I mean, got to give these Thunder a lot of credit, and SGA especially.
They had 8 guys with a steal in this game. 8. And Caruso had 3, and he played like 15 minutes. SGA had 3. It's just the Nuggets needed an Alex Caruso, and they didn't have anything close to that.
Weren't you the one that was bashing on Alex Caruso a couple days ago?
I was saying he couldn't be he wasn't their superstar in this game. He was probably like their 4th best player, but he was a great 4th best player. He couldn't be. You can't be your leading scorer. You're not going to win games with Alex Caruso being your leading scorer.
No, and they have SGA for that. But it was good to see Jalen Williams come on, and Caruso didn't have to be the number 2. I'll give you that.
Yeah.
One last thing I want to touch on for this: a lot of people were saying, given how close the MVP race was between Jokic and SGA this season, that they should just give the MVP to the winner of this game. First, I want to know how you feel about that. And 2, who do you think deserves it at this point?
Well, it started as a conspiracy theory, but I think that's actually what the voters are doing. Because I'm not really sure when the MVP normally gets announced, but allegedly it's late. And I wouldn't be surprised if tomorrow or Tuesday we see SGA is your 2025 Kia most valuable player.
Yeah, I mean, he was the heavy favorite going in, and I think at least me, Jack, you might have been on my side too. We're like, how does Jokic not get it, averaging almost 30 points, over 10 rebounds and 10 assists as well? Yeah. But look, I don't hate giving out awards after the playoffs. I know it's usually a regular season award, but I mean, SGA's MVP of the league after what I saw.
Yeah, I think the voters are they're making us stay on our toes, and they want us to believe in the conspiracy theories. That's how the NBA gets views.
Yeah, and I can't blame you guys. I'm still, Matt, to what you said earlier, I'm still a believer in Jokic deserves it after, what he was able to do this season. I think, if anything, the SGA and the Thunder winning this game, I think it just goes to show that SGA had a lot more help around him. And, maybe we should give it to Jokic, but I'm cool with it either way. They're both phenomenal basketball players, and I know it's not really a good thing to just be hands off and not really care who wins it, but they could be co-winners for all I care.
Right. I wonder if they can do that. I guess they'd have to tie.
Nah, they need an outright MVP. There'll never be a co-MVP. At least I don't think. Who knows? Adam Silver's got so much up his sleeve. We never know what that guy can pull out of his ass. But Now, kind of looking ahead here, just to touch on, I guess, the Western Conference Finals. And Edwards versus SGA. We know OKC probably has a deeper team, but what do the Timberwolves maybe have that OKC won't be ready for? Is Rudy Gobert going to give Hartenstein a tough time? Who's the guy, Brian, you were talking about who was going off for? Was it Vanderbilt or who's
McDaniels?
McDaniels and Randall. Like, I'm just trying to think, like, where do the Timberwolves have enough other than Ant Edwards, right? Like, SGA they can cancel each other out, right? SGA and Ant Edwards. So it's just like, for me, where do the Timberwolves have enough to overcome this type of series? I think the Nuggets maybe had a better shot to stop OKC than the Timberwolves will have, but we'll see.
Yeah, I definitely think, at least in these playoffs, Randall has been the better second scoring option than Jalen Williams. I mean, Jalen Williams has had multiple games where he shoots like 3 for 15, and that just can't happen. But it's going to be a really fun series because you have Caruso and Jaden McDaniels, basically the same player, just defensive wizards that'll hit big threes when you need them to. Then you have Rudy versus Hartenstein, and you have Chet, Gobert, or you have both of them against the two bigs. It's a lot. These teams match up very well, and you'll have Ant and SGA with, I guess they don't really have as much of a rivalry from the Canada versus USA stuff, but I'm sure they don't like each other. Ant doesn't like anybody. So it's going to be a fun series.
That's a great way to put it. Ant does not like anybody. He's going at everybody. He's the Kingslayer. He's going at everybody's throats, trying to take the crown. And next up on the list is the, supposedly MVP of this year. So Ant is ready for that, and he's going to be excited for that. Matt, to answer your question, I think it's Randall. I think Randall, to Brian's point, is the best number 2. If we do think that Ant Edwards can cancel out SGA and go punch for punch, Randall has proven this playoff run so far that he's the second best scorer. A lot of people have been struggling in OKC to score the basketball. So if that continues, the Timberwolves will have enough. And I do think that these teams match up pretty evenly defensively. They're both young, pretty deep, have plenty of guys they can bring off the bench, whether it's Naz Reid or whoever in Minnesota. So I think this is going to be a great series. And one thing I'll say is, if we get some close games, that's one thing I still haven't seen from OKC. Can they win close games? I don't know. It seems like they can only win in 30, 40-point blowouts.
Yeah, that's a good point. I like what you said, because they're going to lean on their defense. The issue, though, Anthony Edwards, he might be the second best scorer on the Timberwolves right now. He's really struggling with his shot, at least. And he's complaining about fouls, which I think he's finally starting to realize he's not going to get those calls. But like, OKC's not going to foul you. They're going to contest, and they're going to get blocks, and they're going to get steals, and they're not going to foul you. So Edwards is going to need to hit some shots. It's going to be a super fun series. These over-unders are going to be like 195.5. I
think Ant Edwards, if he maybe didn't have a great series from the previous one, I think he bounces back. And, you're saying he's struggling with the shot. I think he's such a good player to where it's not like, hey, he goes cold and he's just cold the rest of the year. I think he'll be able to figure it out. And, with SGA on the other side, like, he's gonna step into the moment and be there. And like you said, he doesn't really like anybody. He's a guy who can step up to the moment and maybe play the villain role, step in and be the guy who carries the team. So I think if he's on, the Timberwolves have a lot better chance. But I think SGA doesn't need to be his best for OKC to win this series, and Edwards does need to be his best for the Timberwolves to win this series.
I like the way you said that. I don't know if I agree with it, but I like the way you said that, because I do think SGA is going to have to be at his best, because even if Ant Edwards isn't at his best, which I believe, like you said, he'll bounce back, I do think Randall provides enough as a number 2 to sort of make up for it. If SGA doesn't have a phenomenal game where he's scoring 35, 40 points, I do think that Ant and Randall are too much, and OKC won't be able to find the scoring to keep up with those two. Should be fun.
Yeah, I just need to see one sequence where we get SGA dunking over Gobert, and then Anthony Edwards comes back on the other end and dunks over Chet. If we get that, that's all I need from this series. It can be a 4-0 blowout. If we can get that sequence, that makes my NBA playoffs.
It'd be a fun sequence, but I don't know if we're gonna get it.
Let's talk about the East.
Yeah, I'm down to jump right over to that. And look, Boston's out, right? The Knicks overcame, I guess, is it the monkey on the back? I don't know, but they were able to overcome Boston. I know Tatum got hurt. Gave him a little bit of a scare winning at home in a big way and then, pushing it back to New York. But, I kind of want to push it to you, Brian. You were this big Jaylen Brown believer. Jaylen Brown's the best player on that team. What do you have to say?
He couldn't do much. I mean, the team shot, they looked like a Planet Fitness intramural team just chucking threes, and they gave up. That game 6, they didn't want to be there. Porzingis has mono or AIDS or both. I don't know what he has, but that they didn't want to be. They're already in Cancun. Well, they're definitely there now, but they were already in Cancun when they were playing up and down the floor at Madison Square Garden.
Yeah, I mean, it's really hard to win in the playoffs without your best player. And, even if we've been saying it the whole time, there's 6-7 guys on that team that are almost just as good as Jason Tatum. It shouldn't be an end-all, be-all that he got injured, but it feels like it, right? I mean, the mojo for them to have to go into New York, win Game 6, go home, win Game 7, for them to have to go on and win another series in the East against the Pacers, who are a very physical team, and then go win an NBA championship. All of that without your best player seems like a really tough task, and that must have gotten in their heads because they, as you said, Brian, they gave up.
They did it for Porzingis. Go let him rest and figure out what the hell's wrong with him.
For sure. If it was the other way around where the Celtics were one game away from advancing, could they have got it done? We saw him win a game, so they probably could have propelled through, but having to make that comeback without Tatum, it showed that they couldn't do it. And yeah, they definitely checked out when they got back to New York to play that Game 6. So the Knicks get it done, take on the Pacers. I do think that'll be an electric series as well. I don't know really where to forecast that, right? Like, does Halliburton cancel out Brunson, and then where does the rest fall in?
It's gonna come down to
nobody cancels out Brunson.
I agree.
Dude,
he's the best player in the East.
He had like 30 points in 3 quarters in that Game 6, and then he didn't even score in the 4th because he didn't have to. But like, he's really good.
He's really good.
He's
got the mojo. He's getting better. And what I like a lot about Brunson, and obviously followed the guy ever since he was at Nova, the moment just never seems too big, right? Like, he just is so cool, calm, collected. It doesn't feel like a front that he's putting on. Some of these guys will try and put that front on, but he's just super cool in the moment. And so far, again, we'll see what happens here and beyond, but it just feels like he has the composure to lead this team. I don't know that even I'm ready to give the flowers, but at what point do we maybe give Tom Thibodeau his flowers?
Yeah, I think Thibodeau and like Brunson has looked composed and collected, but this whole team, they're like, no, Cat. We make fun of Cat so much on this show, and he's been phenomenal. And we haven't seen him do his classic Cat complaining or trying to punch somebody, or like, he's been great.
At what point do you tip the hat?
He's still the same zesty Cat, bro.
He's still zesty, but like, he's not. It's not in a bad way. Like, I feel like everything he's doing is amplifying the team, where sometimes before it would be like, it would look like he's doing it for himself. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Okay. I can get behind that. He does seem like he's embracing, his teammates in the Knicks culture very well, which is a great sign. But Matt, I want to go back to your question. I don't think that I'm going to give Tibbs his flowers until they actually win the whole thing, like when it's all said and done, just because, and here's why, because as good as this has been going, what is the big thing that we always talk about with Tibbs? Like, these guys are going to get tired. They're going to get injured. If we see that happen, I mean, we still got at least 8 wins before they get, the crown on their head, the ring on their finger, 8 more wins on top of however many other losses. So like, that's a lot of basketball games. There's a lot of time left for these guys to, hit that plateau and just be too tired, not have any gas left in the tank like we saw with the Nuggets. There's time for that. There's time for injuries. I hope none of that happens. Bing bong, go Knicks. But if they can get through it all, Tibbs, I'll give you your flowers, brother.
I kind of agree with you, but like they haven't made it to a finals since like what after Jordan. So
They haven't
if
made
they
a
can get
conference
It's been a
there,
final.
while.
They haven't
if
made
they
a
can get to
conference
a
final
yeah,
since 2000 or whatever.
if they can get to a finals, like I think at that point you're like, all right, because if they get there, if it's against the Timberwolves, well, first of all, that's going to be hell on earth for Knicks fans because you got to play Julius Randle and Dante DiVincenzo.
Right.
But if it's against like the Thunder and the Thunder are favored to win the series, like minus 350, and they lose that, I don't know if I can really blame Thibodeau.
That's a fair point. And we'll be able to judge that when it happens. If I'm just saying, if it really comes down to the conditioning, the effort, what they have left in the tank, or if somebody gets an injury that's not get Josh Hart getting elbowed in the eye, that's not Tibbs' fault, but like something happens with a calf strain or something, we can use our better judgment and make a call here if it was Tibbs' fault or not. But look, I'm happy with what's going on right now. I can't complain. Jalen Brunson's the king of New York. They're going on to the Eastern Conference Finals. Life's good as a Knicks fan.
Couldn't agree more with that. Life's good if you're a Knicks fan.
No, there's no reason to hate on Tibbs yet.
Did you keep when we redid our picks for the champion, did you keep your Knicks pick from the preseason? I can't remember. Not that it really matters because you picked the Knicks in the preseason, so that trumps all.
Yeah, I mean, no. When we got to the playoffs, I probably picked the Celtics. I'm pretty sure I picked the Celtics to come out of the East.
Okay, well that's fair.
But yeah, I mean, look, I don't really care who I picked. I'm happy the Knicks are there.
No, yeah, that's fair. Also, one last thing on Thibodeau. I was working during this game 6 with a big Knicks fan, my guy Noah, and he was furious. It was like 7 minutes left in the fourth quarter, and the Stars were still in the game. That I will never understand with Thibodeau. He's still in Mikal Bridges running cardio up by 40 with 6 minutes to go.
Well, that was what happened in the Thunder game today too. The Nuggets pulled Jokic and Murray and Gordon and whoever else, and then you still see Chet and SGA and everybody else running around the court for an extra minute or two for the Thunder. It's like, dude, you're up 30 points, 9 minutes left. They took their stars out. What are you doing?
SGA had to get his 35. It took him out right after he got 35.
That's funny. I didn't even realize that.
Yeah, it's like, does Thibodeau have some kind of PTSD of blowing leads? Like, it's not like he's Doc Rivers where he's blown series left, right, and center. Maybe he has, maybe he hasn't. I'm not sure, but it is a little mind-boggling the way he leaves guys in and then obviously kind of plays them into the ground. But it's worked up to this point. Like you said, Jack, still at least 8 wins to go and however many losses. So we'll see if it eventually catches up to him. I'm not sure. It's going to be a tough series against the Pacers and a Pacers team that's going to come firing on all cylinders.
Yeah, I think they're a little more rested, a little deeper of a team, and they play physical. Not that the Knicks don't, but it's going to be another battle of a series for the Knicks.
Yeah, I know I just gave praise to Cat, but we might get another bad picture of him trying to back down Miles Turner, and Turner just does not move. And that's going to be the next big meme going around with Cat on Twitter.
Back up.
Definitely could be.
Do we make our series predictions yet or not yet, Brian?
Well, when did game 1 start? Is it Tuesday? Did we get a game 1?
Tuesday might be Knicks Pacers.
Yeah, I can see that being the case.
Wednesday is Knicks Pacers, so we can do it now because we'll be recording during game 1.
We should give out our predictions at least for the series predictions.
Yeah, I'll go Knicks in 6 and Thunder in 5.
So hard to pick against the Knicks, man. Just because it's all the Nova guys or ex-Nova guys, whatever you want to call it, I'll go Knicks in 7.
I think I'm taking the Knicks and the Thunder both in 7.
I think the Thunder get it done quicker than the Knicks do. I'm not sure how quick. I'll go Thunder in 6. If the Knicks get it done in 6, I think the Thunder get it done in 5. And I'm not sure why there's a correlation or why that matters, but
I thought the same thing.
Just think the Thunder get it done quicker than the Knicks do.
It's exactly what my head went to. I was like, Knicks in 6, and then I'm like, no, Thunder get it done quicker.
It's just that's what it feels like, but it should be electric nonetheless.
Dude, I like Minnesota in 6 or the Thunder in 7. I don't know. Someone's
It's
winning
tough
on
to
their home
pick, man.
court. Someone's winning it on their home court. That's for sure.
Yeah,
and the
I like
fact
that. If
it's so-
the Timberwolves win, it's going to be in 6.
the fact that it's so tough to pick just shows how electric both these series could be. So I'm just ready to finally watch some electric basketball.
Yeah, we know you've been out on the playoffs to this point, but hey, we're at conference finals. There's 4 teams left. It's nothing but battles from here on out.
This is where the basketball season starts, at least the NBA season.
Yep, end of May.
You guys are the worst.
We jump over now to the PGA Championship. It was an electric weekend of golf and really good for a guy, Scottie Scheffler, who wins another major, 11 under. He only shot even par this round, wins it at 11 under. Harris English, Bryson DeChambeau follow him up in 6 there. Is that Davis Riley? Also 6 under? I'm not sure. Yeah, Davis Riley 6 under. And going in, at least to the weekend, this leaderboard was scrambled. Yeah, Jonathan Vegas up there and a bunch of other guys who just you were not expecting to be at the top of the leaderboard. So you're like, how is this going to shake out? And it really showed kind of the elite players versus the non-elite, and Scottie prevailed. And good tournament, electric tournament. I do like to see the shakeup in the beginning there, but Jon Rahm had a chance to really, really, really put. I mean, the pressure was on for Scottie, and I thought maybe Rahm could push this, to the 17th, 18th hole, maybe force a playoff. We just kind of saw him choke it out, which I think we'll always see. And I know a lot of guys sold out, but for whatever reason, I feel like he was the biggest sellout in terms of Live Tour guys.
Yeah, Rahm had a birdie putt to tie Scheffler, and it holed out, and it all went downhill from there. And if Scottie was the MVP of this PGA Championship, the course, specifically the Green Mile, was the Defensive Player of the Year, because those last 3 holes ended so many golfers' bids to win this thing. It was putting everybody in prison. I mean, Bryson he took the lead on Saturday, and then he shot 3 over on the final 3. Max Homa shot a 64 on Friday, shot 6-7 over on Saturday, and then Rahm, he lost $2 million because he was in second, and then he went in the water on 17, went in the fairway, went in the crowd on 18. It was just disaster.
Complete disaster. We saw even the Jonathan Vegas guy who came out of nowhere. He was should have been 10 under going into the weekend, and then I think he completely botched it. Double bogeyed on the last hole, and went in only with a 1-stroke lead compared to maybe having a 3 or 4 shot lead. So I think that plays a lot when you go into the next day, psychologically knowing you could have had or you should have had a 4-stroke lead. And, now there's guys behind you, and you're only 1 up on them. So I think that played into it. And kind of like you said, Brian, this course was extremely difficult with the water, the setup, just it was really tough. And that's where you see the elite golfers and really, just Scottie Scheffler was able to navigate. And, those first 2 rounds, he played good golf. He played okay golf, but he wasn't spectacular. You weren't going into Saturday like, oh, Scottie's got this. Scottie's, you're just like, okay, he played okay, but maybe it's just another, like we saw in the Masters, where he just kind of hangs around and gets a top 10 or a top 5, but really figured the course out, was able to kind of dial in and figure out what he needed to do to get the job done. And Championship Sunday, he shot even par.
That's exactly what happened. He played it. You guys know I don't watch all that much golf, but I watched the end of Scottie's run, and even on that last hole on 18, he had such a fat lead that he just teed up that last putt just to sink it nice and easy. He didn't have to go for some crazy putt to do it. Could lay it up and then hit it. It was a very anticlimactic ending. And Matt, I think it's what you said. There's levels to this stuff. My guy, I was cheering for Johnny Vegas. I saw the MLB sponsorship right on his chest. So I was like, all right, this guy's cool. I'm pulling for him. But no, you didn't see guys like Scottie on the boards early in the weekend. But sure as shit, by the end of the weekend, it's the same guys. It's Scottie, it's Bryson, it's all those guys.
I think that's where, Johnny Vegas kind of got caught up. Is he had the lead, he had the multiple stroke lead, and he was trying to do too much with the lead. When Scottie had the lead, just lay up, hit your shots, know what works, know what doesn't. There were some shots where, Vegas had like 2, 3, 4 shot leads, and he was like going for crazy shots. It's like, you don't need to do that. Just play. Just take what's given to you. Take what's there. Just play the course. Finish top 5. But I think he could have been there if he just played what the course gave him.
No, and that's exactly what Scottie did. That's exactly what Scottie did. He just plays smart golf. Just doesn't make mistakes. It's not about making the huge hit, the super shot. It's just about not making the mistakes.
And that's what makes Scottie so good, because Rory and Xander, 2 of the best golfers in the world, barely made the cut. I mean, his course had a great weekend, and Scottie did not have his best stuff, managed to make the cut, and did well at the end, where guys like Vegas they flamed out. I mean, maybe Vegas has got to get rid of that MLB sponsorship, because he was true to form like a Major League Baseball pitcher. Flamed out at the end. You can't do that with Scottie Scheffler breathing down your neck.
No, and I think that's what sets up tournaments and weekends like this, is when it's a random leaderboard going into the weekend of guys you don't expect. It leaves the door open for a Scottie Scheffler who doesn't have his best stuff for the first 2 days, but knows these guys are more than likely to probably not keep the foot on the gas and take advantage of what they have. And it's exactly what we saw. And if you told me on Friday that Scottie was going to win this tournament by 5 shots, I would have been like, I don't know, man, this is pretty tough, but it's exactly what he did.
Bryson DeChambeau, he needs to, I know he's been good, but the way he putts a ball, it looks like he just got tased. Like his muscles seize, and I don't know if that's like a popular way to putt, but he missed a lot of putts, and he only lost this tournament by 6 strokes, and he was right there for most of the day. It annoys me to watch him putt the golf ball.
Well, it's funny that you brought him up, because I had one last thing that I wanted to bring up about golf, and it was also involving Bryson DeChambeau. I feel like this guy, again, I don't watch all the golf, but I feel like this guy's the king of second place. I feel like I see him come in second place every other event, and he's never in first. Is that just like the select few I'm watching, or am I onto something? I feel like he's finishing second.
I mean, we only really get to dial in to Bryson. I know there's the hardcore golfers, who watch Live, but he's not on the PGA Tour, so he's over on the Live. We only really get to dial in 4 times a year, and that's the 4 majors. He won was it the U.S. Open last year that he won against? I was
trying to think of. Rory. That's when Rory choked.
Yeah,
right?
Rory choked the putt, and Bryson had a crazy up and down from the bunker to, put it within 5 feet or less and sunk the putt to win the U.S. Open. So he did get the win at the major. Okay. And, I don't know that he's winning a shit ton of Live golf tournaments, but,
I don't think he cares.
People just aren't as dialed in on the Live scene as it is with PGA, and, kind of tarnished the sport a little bit by breaking them both up. But, you're right, Jack, at least for the Masters in this one, DeChambeau did enough to get the second, but not enough to win.
Oh, wait, is that the Masters? He just came in second in the Masters this past Masters? Okay, maybe he's just on second place.
No. He was up there, and he kind of fell apart on the back 9 of the Masters. Okay. He didn't quite get second, but either way, the last one.
He's a weird, because it's like, it seems like every other round he'll have like the driver and the iron and not the putter, or the driver and the putter but not the iron. You just can't put together all 3, but 2 are good enough to get him up in the top 10 of the leaderboard. Yeah,
he's always, and if he played on the tour, he would be probably right there, with Scottie and some of these big tournaments of always just being right there. But you're right, it just seems like he can't find whatever the combination is. He can't find that one area of the game where he needs to put it together, and something always lets him down. These guys are always going at it hard to put themselves in position to win. Maybe we'll see it at the U.S. Open in Oakmont this year in June, but I'm not sure. Scottie it's momentum golf from major to major, and Scottie's going to be carrying a hell of a lot of momentum going into the U.S. Open.
Also, Matt, I don't know if you saw this, but next year the PGA Championship down in
It's
our
right out-
backyard at Newtown Square.
Yeah, right outside of Philly. What's that? Aronimink. Yeah, I guess it was a request or a submission for
Yep,
for
I did the same.
early access tickets. You know that it's major championship golf, and you know the Masters is one thing, but this is up there with that because one, it's a major, and two, you know, you'll be able to go in there and actually have your phone out and be able to record and document your whole experience with the phone and not have to do digital cameras and this, that, and the third. I know the Masters is special in its own regard, and I'm not shitting on it, but you know, being able to go in there and document it with your own phone is it's going to be something, man. I hope I'm able to go.
Yeah, that would be a lot of fun to have boots on the ground at the PGA next year.
I think it's time now to jump into the Mike or the Michael of the week. As we always do, Mr. Brian, do you want to kick us off here?
Gentlemen, it's late spring, which means it's time to talk about Caitlin Clark again.
Oh, yeah.
She had a triple-double in the first game of the WNBA season. It was her third triple-double of her career, which is tied for third on the all-time list for WNBA triple-doubles.
Really a crazy game, man. I mean, that was what? They won by 40 points, 30 points. The crowd was amped up. Anything Angel Reese did, they were jumping right on her for it. So, you know, that's rivalry that they have that the WNBA can probably capitalize on. I mean, I'll tune in and watch it. I think it's pretty fun.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. But it's my Michael of the week because Caitlin Clark has done this in 41 career games, 3 triple-doubles. Candace Parker.
Third all time.
She's tied with Candace Parker, who also had 3. She played like a 12-year career. In second place is Sabrina Ionescu with 4. She has played 144 games. And in first place is Alyssa Thomas with 15. Pretty impressive in 320 career games.
I'm very surprised Sabrina only has 4.
Yeah, I think she must have. I didn't do a deep dive into her career, but I want to say she has a bunch of games where she has like 12, 8, and 7 or something. Just can't get that. Can't get enough.
Can't get it over the line, but should be a fun summer of WNBA basketball with, you know, at least Caitlin Clark.
I'm surprised you said that with a very straight face.
Oh, dude, I mean, Caitlin Clark's electric, and I know last year as a rookie they had a tough season, but I think they made some offseason additions, and I know the LA Sparks will be tough. They just grabbed, who was the other girl from Vegas that they got? Kelsey Plum.
Yeah, Plum.
I think Cam Brink should be back from the ACL. They got a couple other pieces. So, I mean, for what it's worth, if you want to watch competitive basketball, you know, Caitlin Clark, I'll give credit where it's due, man. She is an awesome, awesome talent.
Yeah, and if you want to ever get in on the conversation, try to stay away from WNBA Twitter. It is the most racist cesspool I've ever had the displeasure of walking through. Dude, everything going on with this Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese is just it's like I don't know if it must be good for the WNBA, you know, it's getting the reactions and people talking about it, but like it is setting us back culturally. It's not good.
It's not good. It's a lot of Caitlin Clark fans, not a lot of WNBA fans. I can't speak. The issue is the WNBA hasn't really embraced Caitlin Clark, so you're going to get the Caitlin Clark fans hating the WNBA fans, and it's not worth anybody's time to do a deep dive into that.
No, you're right. It's very interesting scene over there on Twitter X, whatever you want to call it. But Jack, what's your Michael of the week here, man?
Yeah, so it was gonna be some of the interactions I saw on WNBA Twitter, But I figured, we're not trying to go down that hole on this show. So in a more positive light, I'm going to highlight a guy that we've talked about a little bit already, but a guy pertaining to the MVP conversation. I didn't want to bring this up earlier because it's my Michael of the week, but Nikola Jokic, after this series just ended, we're off to the Eastern and Western Conference Finals. Through this point in the playoffs, in 2025 playoffs, Nikola Jokic leads the playoffs in points, rebounds, assists, steals, blocks, double-doubles, triple-doubles, and field goals. Like, just not percentage, but just field goals, period. Like, shots made. It's insane. Every single one of those categories, he's number one in.
That's a LeBron stat line if I've ever heard it before.
LeBron.
That's exactly what goes through my head. Nobody does that except for LeBron.
Does SGA match that?
I mean, just as far – he won the game, but as far as those stats go, no. I really don't think SGA stacks up to Jokic.
So maybe Jokic should be the outcome of the series.
Wait, what?
I said maybe Jokic should be the MVP regardless of the outcome of the series.
That's actually how
what you
I
were
feel.
saying. Yeah.
That is how I feel. But
that's hell of a player, man. Hell of a player. Yeah, that's all you can do there. And now he can go back to
his horses.
Racing his horses and betting on the ponies. So fun summer ahead for Mr. Jokic.
In the post-game presser, he said, "I just want to drink beer." That's all he's looking for.
He's got to be careful. That's what got Luka traded.
Yeah, and we, we're like, oh, there's no way Luka can get traded. We say, oh, there's no way Jokic can get traded. I don't know. I hope Jokic doesn't, because then magically the Nuggets will get the number one pick next year.
I guess it's too early to even speculate that.
I'm trying to make a Mavs getting the number one picture, but
yeah, I got you. I'm just trying to think if there's another prospect like Cooper Flagg that Adam Silver would rig it for. He only rigs it when there's those generational prospects. He's got to keep it somewhat
make sure it doesn't go to a dead market. Eastern Conference team, dead market, same thing, right? Now, I'll jump into my Michael of the week here, and I think you guys know where I'm going with this one. And, I brought up the Carolina Panthers being a potential sleeper team this year. Jack didn't agree. Brian was a little bit on my side. Interesting. It's not really a stat, but a timeline of events, I guess I would call it. We go all the way back to 2003, where Ohio State won the national championship. The Carolina Panthers opened up against the Jacksonville Jaguars. The Panthers made the Super Bowl, actually beat the Eagles in the NFC Championship that year. Did lose to the Patriots. But we go to 2015, where Ohio State wins the national championship. Carolina Panthers open against the Jacksonville Jaguars. Panthers make the Super Bowl. Did ultimately lose that as well. We come to 2025 here, where Ohio State has won the national championship. 2025 NFL season, the Panthers open against the Jacksonville Jaguars. If history repeats itself, should we be placing, maybe not to win because they didn't win the previous two Super Bowls, but the Carolina Panthers to make the Super Bowl, and kind of puts a little more fuel to my Panthers sleeper take.
Yeah, I love these kinds of stats as much as the next guy.
I mean, this is a Brian stat if I've ever seen one in my life.
My only issue here is it was a Mickey Mouse ring for Ohio State.
Why?
With the 18 playoff.
Oh.
And they got the easiest road.
What seed were they? I thought they were still.
Are we trying to discredit Ohio State's national championship this year?
Yes, I'm very much trying to do that. They lost to Michigan.
The guy who's trying to say Will Howard is like the GOAT?
Yeah, he could still be Rookie of the Year, but they didn't deserve to win that natty. They got to play Notre Dame in the national championship.
Who?
I'm anti-18 playoff.
Who should have Ohio State have played in the title game?
Go back to BCS. It should have been 1 versus 2. I'd much rather have BCS.
So I think you're just shitting on the new college football playoff more than you're shitting on Ohio State here.
Yeah, no, they were a good team, but the path they had and the fact they had to play Notre Dame was BS.
But was Ohio State even a 1 or a 2?
No, that's my
Exactly.
point. They shouldn't have even been in the Natty. Go back to BCS or go back to the 4.
Yeah, but what about the teams that were at the top that didn't make it?
But how
They
how are
deserve
you
to be
gonna-
there based on their regular season. College football is about the regular season. We're tampering another regular season, and I hate it.
I can agree with that to some degree, but how are you going to say that we should go back to a 2-team system when the national championship wouldn't have even been a part of that conversation?
Because
That's
the other two
terrible.
teams are better. They showed they were better throughout the season. Europe does it right with the Prem. Play the full season and crown the winner after the team that won the most games.
I'm not. Well, it's the team that has the most points, not even necessarily the most games. But I guess I see where you're trying to go with this. But Ohio State was a very good football team, and I think regardless of their path, regardless of whatever you want to say about them, I think they were very deserving of winning the national title this year. I can't get on the Mickey Mouse train that you're on.
Like I said, I think they could deserve a national championship. They didn't deserve the right to play for a national championship.
So you wanted Oregon, Georgia, and just call it a day.
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't have hated that.
Yeah,
They were the two best teams all year.
Based off of how it sounds, I wouldn't have hated that. But when it's all said and done and we see Ohio State winning the championship, I don't know how you can go back and say, they shouldn't have even been allowed to be there. They won the whole thing.
Yeah, the college football, you're getting rid of. The greatness of college football is the regular season. And you're making it not matter when you let a team that lost to Michigan win the national championship.
I see what you're trying to say.
I'm not getting there with you. So
I'll die on this hill.
They definitely deserved to win it. But we can leave it at that. That's the Michael of the week. We'll see what the Panthers do. That was the whole point of this. My Michael, not Ohio State's national championship legitimacy.
That's what you get in the nosebleeds.
That's what you get up in the nosebleeds. Brian's angle. NHL. I know, Brian, the Capitals lost. We're in the midst of Game 7. Obviously, everybody's going to watch this when we already have a final team. Unfortunately, we're still deadlocked at 0. We don't have an early goal. We're about 6 minutes to go in the first period here. Guess we'll kind of see how you guys are feeling. And then, Brian, if you have any Capital stuff.
Most dangerous tie game in hockey. 0-0.
It's the only yeah, I guess.
Yeah, Brian, you're gonna need to start getting better with some of these. But look, man, this has been a very tight game so far. Florida started out a lot of shots on goal, and as we're watching right now, like Matt said, about 6 minutes left in the first. Toronto has been putting the pressure on. Been a good hockey game.
One little small note: the Flyers did finally get their head coach of the future, at least the foreseeable future, hiring Rick Tocchet. Spent the better half, I think, 11 years of his NHL career with the Flyers. He played maybe 16 years. So the Flyers get Rick Tocchet, led the Canucks to being the best team in the NHL and coached a couple. I think he coached the Coyotes when they were still in Phoenix. Now, not the Utah Hockey Club. They just got. Are they the Mammoth?
The Utah team got renamed?
It was the hockey club, and then they voted on a team. It was going to be the Yeti, but there was too much of a copyright issue with the cup brand. That's the cups and the coolers. Too much of a copyright, so they weren't allowed to do Yeti, and I think they settled on the Utah Mammoth. But that was the former Coyotes that Rick Tocchet coached, and I want to say maybe it was another coach somewhere else. But yeah, Flyers get their head coach of the future, so excited. He has been somewhat successful and familiar with the organization, and seems to be a good hire all around. Was on a lot of teams' short list to be a coach.
Yeah, he sounds like a hockey coach. Also, that's a terrible, terrible job by Yeti to not get the arena naming rights and just name it Yeti Arena, sponsored by Yeti.
Yeti Arena like the sponsorship deal. I feel like they really could have capitalized there, and I want to say, like I said, there was too much of a copyright thing that
I don't think they have the bankroll for naming
really,
rights.
dude. The amount of moms that have like 50 Yeti cups in their cabinets at home, those things aren't cheap.
Yeah, I feel like
Like every
Yeti's
time I go to
big
my
enough.
parents' house, there's like 25 Yeti cups in the cabinet, and my mom's like, "Yeah, if you ever need water, here's one of these 20 cups."
I'm gonna check right now, man.
Yeah, you could probably find their net worth, their revenue.
Exactly.
Yeah, I have no idea. I thought it was like handed on a silver platter right there with the branding, sponsorship, co-partnership, the Utah Yeti, and then
You can
even
build the arena like a Yeti cooler.
so many
Like,
things they could have did.
this would have been so cool. The licensing to the NHL. Oh,
So much stuff they could have done with that, and I think we get the Utah Mammoth as the team they settled on.
yeah, Mammoth's not a bad name.
It's not horrible. Could have been better.
It's not Commanders.
No. Yeah. Utah Mammoth is the team they settled on, and I think that's about all they do for the voting of the name. I think that's
So
gonna
did
be
this new head coach the Coyotes when they were good or when they were dog shit?
uh
I guess
I'd
were
have
they
to
even
get-
ever good?
they were solid when they had I think Phil Kessel was on the team.
I know that name.
Yeah, he was on. I think he won a couple cups with the Penguins, if I'm not
Yeah.
mistaken. I'm not sure how he bounced around, but no, I think they had a couple solid years. I know they had really good years when he was on the Canucks, and they were were the best team in hockey. I don't think he won a cup, but he has a winning record as a head coach, which
Means he's hungry for a cup.
yeah, hungry for a cup, has a winning record, but it's hockey, man. You see these. It's the one sport where I feel like the coaches get recycled the most.
Yeah, Barry Trotz has coached like every team in the Eastern Conference.
Yeah, the coaches get recycled the most. Like MLB, you don't really see coaching get recycled. NFL a little bit, probably.
Yeah, NFL, it's more like head coach to D coordinator to O coordinator to head coach.
Yeah,
That kind of cycle.
yeah, and then NBA kind of a little bit. That's a
Yeah.
little bit more.
They even go back to like assistant roles before they get another job.
Yeah, but NHL head coaches, I mean, that's just like from team to team, head coach to head coach. It's pretty nuts. So I don't know. We'll see what the Flyers do. And about 5 minutes to go here in Game 7 of the Panthers and the Maple Leafs. We'll see who comes out victorious here. I don't know where this one's going to go, man. It seems pretty evenly matched, obviously, if we're at Game 7.
Jack, do we have a ruling on the Yeti net worth?
Yeah, they could. They have enough money. They could have done that.
I'm telling you.
They had enough money to absolutely do that.
They for sure should have been able to do it. And I don't know the full details but I don't know. Utah Yeti, that seems like that should be like 100% the name. Like I don't like it shouldn't have even been close. I don't even
every ski person that's going on the slopes in Utah has a Yeti cooler too.
Right.
Oh, it's right in front of them.
Right in front of them. Tough scenes, but that's what we get. The Utah Mammoth, the newest name in professional sport. But with that, I think that's where we shut it down here. Unless you guys got anything else, I'm Matt. As always, Jack and Brian joining me along for the ride. Enjoy Game 7, guys. I know we'll have the outcome as this is released, but we'll see what happens. Brian's got a Mets baseball game to stress over as well here.
Yeah, every backseat manager on Mets Twitter, please just shut your mouth. You don't know more than Carlos Mendoza, Jeff McNeil, and RBI. I saw so many tweets about why Jeff McNeil in the lineup. 2-out RBI single. Stop. Just stop talking. Stop tweeting.
Go Rats.